There are some lies in our science books. Taught it for 15 years. Even though I'm not teaching it anymore, I still like to study. It's so many neat things to learn. We're going to cover some of that tonight.
Perception is being managed. We are being steered and guided by a hidden hand.
The whole world has been duped by the media that is not real.
Smart thinking, possible time traveler, smart thinking.
That night, boom, contact memory.
And then, Alex, if you don't agree, you'll be sent to a re-education camp.
Just because I'm old doesn't mean I've lost my touch with the ladies.
A lot of people here tonight felt like they lost. You know why?
Now, experts are suggesting that we're in a golden age of shape-shifting reptilian sightings. Now, why is that?
I was, and still am, the huge conspiracy guy. I literally ran out of new tin hat topics to research.
It was most definitely not capable of melting steel.
Then I would be a crackpot if I thought that was the case.
Thought that was the case.
Welcome to the Hypothetical Institute, a podcast about conspiracies.
My name is Luke.
I'm Salt. I'm Cam. Gentlemen, how are we?
Good. Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm bloody on top of the world.
Living in this world where the bloody conspiracy is the news.
Well, they've done it this time, haven't they?
What have they done specifically?
They only tried to blow off the God Emperor's head.
They did it. Oh, they came close. They came close.
It struck me like I think it was like 24 hours after it had happened. I was like, we were like millimeters from just his head exploding on live television.
Yeah.
Which would have been, how everyone was like, oh, this is really bad. What's going to happen? We don't know what's going to happen. It's like, I think that would have been really, really bad, actually.
Well, that would have been like, it would have been in full HD from many angles as well. Like,
yeah.
There was that, remember that, was he a senator or something in America that died by suicide on TV, pulled a gun out during a press conference. And that was, we were pretty low def times then, and even that was pretty thrilling for people. In a bad way, I guess, but,
Yeah.
So imagine seeing one of the most divisive figures in history is just head explode. Oh.
Not so great, perhaps. But we are going to talk about it because it has sprung forth a lot of conspiracies. And it's funny because people are like, oh, now it's the left doing conspiracizing. It's like, don't you worry. The right making up the conspiracy still. There's no change there.
It's a fire hose of conspiracies right now. You can, you just turn on any random media and you're getting them. You're getting them in from all angles.
I feel like I've never seen so much being fed to my timeline, especially on Twitter, aka X. That's just like, mate, if you don't think this is staged, you need to bloody wake up to yourself. Like, it's everyone seems to just think, everyone that I'm getting fed, I think I've only had one account fed to me that's been like, what a tragedy. This would have been, thank God that God stopped that bullet. And everything else has just been, why is there no blood on his collar? Why is there no blood on his hand that he grabbed his blown off ear with? Why is, there's a lot.
Why don't things work like the movies?
Well, yeah.
I did like the one of the first reactions I saw was like, Trump was in WWE. He was in all those wrestling storylines.
Yeah.
And they're like, so he's done the classic trick of using a razor blade on his ear when they've pulled him down. It's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I think that was floated as a legitimate thing for a while as well, wasn't it? People were obviously joking about that, and I saw some memes about that, but there were also people that were quite seriously questioning whether or not it was fake. And like, I think for me, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it seems a bit sus. Because, my ear. And then he comes up bleeding from his ear, and you're like, what? He's been shot. How's he been shot there,
Yeah.
But I definitely don't believe that now. Where do we start with this? Salty, you mentioned God. Do we have religious stuff to start with, and then we just go from there? Because this is going to be, there's many angles for this, and we're by far not going to cover all the conspiracies, I don't think.
Maybe we need to do a part 2 next time.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to wait.
I assume this is going to be quite a fast-moving thing as well. So there might be developments, like by the time we finish recording tonight, there might be new shit out.
Yeah, at time of recording, the shooter's motive isn't really known. There is, everyone's trying to just scramble to see if he's on whichever side they're on of politics to make sure he's not. By all accounts, he was a registered Republican voter. There is this kind of story that he gave $15 to a left-wing charity or a Biden fundraiser or something.
Yeah, it was like Act Blue. It was like a liberal voting. I think Vote Blue it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like $15 and it was he registered as a Republican after he did that. But yeah, there's this whole thing where people are like trying to read the tea leaves on all those things, and then people have gone and talked to people he went to school with, and they're like, yeah, he was very, very conservative.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he was wearing a T-shirt of a famous gun YouTube in a very Republican area with a gun. His politics are probably not massively up for debate. The Act Blue donation, I did hear on a podcast, and I completely forget which one, apologies, that there was it was in the name of Thomas Crook or Thomas Crooks, but that was the only evidence that was him. Like, people just found his name attached to a donation. Right. And there's at least one other person of that name who fits the bill of donating to such a cause. So chances are it probably wasn't him at all.
I did see, well, this is the thing, I've seen so much about this donation. Someone did find like the filings, and it's like has his address on it, but it's got like Pittsburgh or whatever instead of the little suburb of Pittsburgh that he's in, or Pennsylvania or whatever it is.
Why does a $15 donation incur a legal filing or a name somewhere?
I think it's all just public records that you can dial up. But
so it was an online donation?
No idea, Robbo. They just keep records, mate, and anyone can get them. It's a very strange place.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's like billionaires donating quite a bit of money that I'm sure is not there's not paperwork for.
Yes, and speaking of Elon Musk, since then has come out and pledged $45 million to donate to Donald Trump's super PACs. So
$45 million a month.
Really?
Yeah. So we don't know why he did it, and there's like a lot of people speculating about it. I'm sort of the idea that's rattling around into my head is that he seems like he might be a sort of a school shootery type.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it's a little, once you've graduated from high school, it's sort of a bit lame to go back and shoot up your school.
Yeah, you just become a public shooter.
Yeah. So I think he's like, I want to shoot up a school, but I can't go back. Like, all my bullies don't go to school anymore. What am I going to go to all of the different colleges and shoot my bullies? Why don't I just shoot this guy and I'll make a name for myself and I'll get taken out and it'll all be gravy. Now, spicy take incoming.
Okay.
And I've focus tested this on some people and they said it was too spicy, but I want to see what you boys think.
Perfect for our listeners. Or are you potentially going to cut this?
We'll see. We'll see if you guys are like, that's too spicy, Cam, it's going to get cut. But I'll leave in all of this preamble so they're like, oh, geez.
Oh, geez, Cam's got a fucking hot take. Yeah.
He's a dangerous thinker. I think that if every person who was like, you know what, I'm going to go shoot up my school, instead said, you know what, I'm going to go shoot the president, you might see some gun control sort of getting passed quite quickly.
I thought you were going to say if they all teamed up and went and did it at once.
Strength in numbers.
There might be a better chance. Yeah.
I don't know about that, Cam, because is anyone talking about gun control in the wake of this one?
No, absolutely not. But I think if you went through like 5 presidents in the course of a month, which is about the clip that the school shootings are coming at, right?
Yeah,
I reckon, like President number 6 would be like, all right, item number 1, let's sort this shit out.
Sort this shit out. See, with this is me just fucking being ignorant, salt like I usually am on here. But I feel like I feel like I kind of sometimes take on the role of the guy who doesn't really know anything, which is usually because I haven't done any research. But like, I feel like I ask questions that maybe people who are listening would want to ask, but can't at the time.
Sure.
I was thinking about like which amendment is it that says they can have guns?
The Second Amendment.
Second Amendment says that they can bear arms right to raise a posse against the tyrannical government. Yeah?
Yep.
Isn't that what this guy was basically doing? He felt that the government was being tyrannical, so he's like, I'm going to raise my arms against them?
Well, no, because Trump wasn't in power yet.
He was trying to prevent a tyrannical government.
Yeah. There is an argument of where does that line begin and end? Like, at what point does it become okay to do it?
Yeah.
And in his mind, if that's, I guess, is that a legal defense in America?
No, it's like he was trying to go back in time and kill Hitler's mum.
Yeah.
The Terminator theory.
Yeah.
So that's the big theory that like the right are trying to push, is that Biden and the Democrats have been pushing this idea that Trump is going to bring in fascism. And so they've pushed this guy into acting.
Right.
But we don't know if that's why he did it, because all we know about him is that he's like seemingly fairly conservative. It could be that he's looking at Trump and saying this guy is not fascist enough. We need to get him off the board so we can get some proper fascism happening.
Yeah. Or I feel like there's probably a fair amount of Republican people who are like, yeah, look, I'm Republican, but fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Can we fuck this guy off?
Yeah.
He's making us all look bad.
I saw Australian commentator Claire Lehman in the last few days suggested that maybe he was an incel and that he was just jealous of how successful Trump is with the ladies.
Oh,
okay. On the whole idea of inciting Biden and other figures inciting this by calling him a fascist, and one thing I did notice, and I watched quite a lot of InfoWars the last couple of days, they've put together some supercuts of like celebrities. Is it Kathy Griffin with Trump's head cut off, and someone on The View saying, "Oh, I wish we could just assassinate this guy," and and pointing all those things out as like, hey, look, the left has been calling for his assassination for a while, and yeah, I think it's kind of valid for maybe not InfoWars, but someone to call them out and say, we joke about, and left people joke about assassinating Trump heaps, like to the point where it's kind of it's almost a meme, and I don't think they really mean it in the sense of like, if a gun nut says he wants to assassinate someone and they've got a lot of guns, you're like, oh shit, that person, has got the means to do it, whereas someone that's on The View or whatever probably doesn't have the means.
They don't mean to do it. They meme to do it.
Yeah. But like, I think it's just as bad because all this does is let the Republicans go, oh, see, they've been calling for it and the left hate him. And there's a really good bit by comedian Jared Carmichael where he talks about when I think Trump first got into power and there was a big blow up Donald Trump in Times Square with a tiny penis, and people gathered around and like took photos with his tiny penis and like laughed at him, which is awful. Like, this guy, Donald Trump, has many, many awful things that we can attack him over. We don't need to joke about killing him and laughing at his tiny penis, because while that might seem okay on the surface or funny on the surface, we end up kind of like just being as bad as the person with lots of guns and saying, I'm going to kill Biden. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems like you're doing a lot of work to justify your MAGA tattoo right now.
And like, I mean, I think, yeah, we can like criticize Donald Trump really for all the awful things he's done, because he's done so many awful things. We don't need to go, oh, look, he's got a tiny gross penis.
Yeah,
that's come out in court documents. We don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
One of the
things, you're the one that doubled down there and went from tiny to tiny gross.
Well, that was the implication.
I mean, one of the things that he did do was incite a riot at the Capitol where people brought gallows and zip ties and were ready to execute people.
Exactly. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying we don't need to be as bad as that.
Yeah, I might say that Kathy Griffin might be on a slightly lower level than that sort of thing.
Oh, I mean, she posed with his decapitated head as like a joke.
But it was a paper mache head.
Yeah,
And-
but like, you know what I mean?
She didn't go to the building where he works with a machete.
No,
and,
no.
and zip ties.
No. That we know of.
No, that we know of.
But I don't know. I just sort of think, like, also in this instance now, that can just be used against anyone on the left as saying, well, look, you guys have been calling for his assassination for ages. You did this. When, you know, we don't need to go that low, because we can go that low by just calling out the stuff that he's done. Anyway, that's me done.
That's enough apologism from you. Let's get into some conspiracies. You said about 15 minutes ago, is there any religious stuff?
Yeah, you had religious stuff, didn't you?
Well, if I can read to you from Revelation 13:3.
Please do.
One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast. Yep. Remind you of anyone?
I mean, it was less of a mortal wound and more of just a little tiny nick.
Yeah, I think this is where the Revelations people fall down.
Yeah. I've got this. Has actually made quite a bit of media. I saw this when it popped up on. I think it might have first popped up on the subreddit High Strangeness, which is a pretty fun subreddit. There's a prophet, a so-called Christian prophet called Brandon Biggs, who predicted he had this vision of Donald Trump being an attempted assassination, and he got a bullet whizzed by his ear and took a chunk out of it. And he made this prediction in April,
right?
Which is pretty spot on.
It is, although he did say, I then saw him fall to the ground and he got up and he was reborn as a Christian, and he said, praise Jesus.
Yeah.
It very quickly diverges from reality.
Yeah. See, I was like, the biggest thing we could wish from this is that, like, he has a fucking second coming of decency by his brush with death, and he has a fucking hero arc and, like, changes his ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of the media is hoping for as well.
Yeah.
Is this kind of, he's going to be speaking about unity, and I think the Republican speech is in 2 days at the National Convention, and there's this talk that he's going to go into full unity mode,
right?
Which the bar for him in the media is so low that, he can make one kind of comment about that, and they're going to be like, wow, a new Trump.
Yeah.
But he has announced his running mate as J.D. Vance,
yes.
Who once described him as America's Hitler. So that's unity.
Like, I didn't realize this guy had complimented me once. Get him on board.
Yeah. I've got a couple more predictions from this Brandon Biggs guy.
Oh,
yeah, let's have some more Brandon Biggs. And I'd also like to hear about Brandon Biggs after this has happened. I presume he's cashing in, getting that bag, which I'm going to allow for that.
I haven't followed it. One comment on the subreddit was, man, he's going to be insufferable to be around for the next few days. But this is so I didn't actually dive more into his predictions because there's so much stuff I was trying to get through. But this is from user TotPot on Reddit, subreddit High Strangeness. He said, I went ahead and went through a bunch of his older videos yesterday as a channel. He said that we have some crazy inflation starting in April 2024, which didn't happen. The new Madrid fault would produce a 10.0 earthquake. California would be destroyed. An asteroid would come to Earth, but the US would be split in half with a laser, so it only destroys the Caribbean. Iran would attack Israel in the current war and kickstart the rapture. And hyperinflation is coming soon, so buy his crypto shitcoin. So, look, I think Brandon Biggs is the kind of guy that makes a lot of predictions.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're going to predict that Trump is almost assassinated, a bullet hitting him in the ear, like there's not many places you can assassinate someone and fail, right? If you're going to hit them, if you're going to shoot for the head and you're going to miss, then you're going to hit them in the ear.
Wait, what did Reagan? Where did he get hit?
In the stomach, I think.
Yeah.
See, why didn't he go for the body mass? He's got a gun that shoots fucking heaps of bullets at once, right?
Well, one thing we do know about him is that he tried to join the shooting club at his high school,
right?
And he tried out for it, which is also this little telling that they have shooting clubs at high schools. But anyway, he tried to join his high school shooting club, and he tried out for it, and they banned him from joining, not because of any like political views, but because he was such a bad shot that he was too dangerous to join the shooting club.
Yeah, the only way you get better is by being led into a club and supported by a community.
I mean, the other thing is we don't know how bad a shot he was, because he could have been aiming for the centre mass and hit him in the ear.
Mm. I think the theory now or currently is that a copper climbed up a ladder and gave him a spook. And
yeah, and he had to act very quickly.
Yeah. So the copper turned around, put his gun to the copper. The copper like ducked back down because he was in a precarious position, and then boom, 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 it all happened.
Brandon Biggs also predicted that Ripple, the cryptocurrency, would go to $10,000 from its current level of 53 cents, which would be a good news for me and Salty, who both have like 20 Ripples.
We still got that?
Yeah.
Nice. Let's go.
I had some Ripple, but I think I may have used it on the dark web.
Let's pump that shit.
Yeah. Let's go to 10K. Jesus told me in a dream.
So I
Can you imagine that if like fucking that shit that we invested in like 10 years ago or something and forgot about just suddenly fucking goes through the roof? Holy shit. I guess, right? Sorry, go.
I went looking for some more mystic prophecies, and I tried to find some astral projections to see if anyone had astral projected into the area, but no one had really done it. But I found this lady called Official or Utsava, Utsava, on Rumble. She's Official Utsava. She sells orgonite crystals.
Oh, yeah.
And she also donates anything she makes from her readings to mostly horse rescue. And she, so it's pretty hard to hate on her, really. She's rescued 43 donkeys from a kill pen in Louisiana. And they've rescued thousands of horses and donkeys in America, and she's quite often the last hope to feed and care for them. Anyway, she's real cooked, so it's a bit of a shame.
How do we feel about like someone who's like a fraud or like peddling snake oil shit, but then they funnel all of that money into a charity?
It's no worse than any other capitalism, I guess. And it's hard for me to criticize too much because I sell poison. literal poison.
Well, you can process it.
Yeah. But, it's responsible for a lot of harm. So, yeah, might sit this one out.
Yeah, well, you should also sit it out because only I have the authority to award a bag or not, and I will give her the bag on this one.
All right, let's...
well, you're giving the rescued horses the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing she noted is the guy's last name is Crooks, and Donald Trump is exposing the crooks.
Yep.
So that's maybe why he was unhappy with Donald Trump.
Yeah, could be.
Yep.
Whereas like Donald Trump is a crook, so he's giving us crooks a bad name.
Yep, that could also be it. But she was very pro-Trump, so I don't think she'd call him a crook. She was talking about, and one of the big things that we haven't really touched on yet is the Secret Service really kind of stuffed up or dropped the ball on this one, and there was supposed to be layers of protection and all the sniper areas needed to be covered and all that, which she was kind of talking about, and I was, it's hard to disagree with that. And then she asked where the alliance was, because they are supposed to be watching over him from space. And then she suggested...
The bloody aliens have dropped the ball as well.
They did. Well, she suggested that the military are blocking the alliance with tech, with their dark technology to create areas that the alliance can't see. So she was really not happy with the alliance. And apparently Donald Trump wasn't happy with the alliance either. She also knew that it was going to happen. So, Brandon Biggs, you're not the only one. Because it's happened many times before, but also she couldn't believe that it happened either. But it's also happened many times before. Right. She also suggested he's been... Oh, no, I think she's been arrested by the IRS because she kept on going on about how, like, they're getting Trump for crimes and so many people being arrested for crimes with no reason. The IRS just comes and takes people's stuff and arrests them.
She's been doing some horse crimes.
Yeah.
Do I need to retract this bag?
Well, I tried to find her real name. I couldn't find it in the time that I had. to see if she had been arrested. But she goes on for a while about how they just arrest anyone for doing tax crimes. But then she also says that common law is going to come back as a result of this.
Mm-hmm.
Monica Lewinsky's coming back.
Monica Lewinsky's still around.
Yeah, but she's going to come back in a big way in a public thing, along with Obama and Biden. But they'll be arrested by the Galactic Federation. Also, Putin is dead, and the actor that was playing him has just resigned.
Okay.
He's had enough. What's the secret currency? Gassara? What?
Oh, Nasara. It's like Nasara Gassara.
Yeah. So all those payouts are going to be by the end of the year. So hold on to your Nasara Gassara money, or the money that you. Yeah. So she packed a lot into 30 minutes, and an already very dense subject. She really swung for the fences. I hope she doesn't lose too much money from her tax cases that I'm assuming are looming, and she continues to save those horses.
I did check out some psychics too who'd like put up videos like shortly before, and no one sort of mentioned it. I would have thought it would be, might have been top line news on the vibrations, but didn't really come through for a few people.
Speaking of psychic or I guess QAnon adjacent stuff, is common law, Nasara Gassara, all that stuff. Did you see that JFK Jr. was there?
I did. That was amazing.
Vincent Fusca. He was just right behind Donald Trump, and he just stood there looking, and it was weird. Do you think that was weird?
I did think it was weird. I think Crank T. Nelson on Twitter noted that everyone else gets down and he just stands up because he's embracing his fate as the one true Kennedy. Like, he really is.
I was listening to InfoWars had a lot of people calling in that were there, and one of them was talking about he was a VIP in that behind section, and he was talking about how many VIPs there were and how many it took so long, and it kind of dawned on me that this guy Vincent Fusca is a VIP at Donald Trump rallies. So he gets let in, chosen to go behind and stand there as like one of the main QAnon guys, which I'm assuming the Trump campaign just do to keep them placated, right? Just keep them in there. And but everyone else that was there that rang in InfoWars, every time someone rang up and said, "Oh, I was just to the left of the stage," and Owen Schroyer, the squeaky Alex Jones, was like, "Oh, so you were to the left of Trump?" Like, no, left of stage. And they'll go back and forward on this for a good 30 seconds every time. It didn't matter at all. And it was just like a who's on first bit every time. It was hilarious. But yeah, one person said the security is so lax they could have gone back to their trucks and got a gun and come back. They joked about it. And a lot of people were ringing up saying, and I saw some video footage on the news of people doing this as well, saying they like went and checked it out the day before and noticed there wasn't a lot of security. And then people walked in and commented how little security there was and how something could happen. And these people are just obsessed with it. like people are going 2 or 3 days beforehand and scoping it all out. Like, it's not your job. You don't need to.
No. It's something that the actual assassin didn't seem to have done.
No, I think by all theories, he just rocked up on the day and found a shed. The other parts that I watched of InfoWars, so old mate Jonesy was on holiday, so he didn't really have too much to say. So they got Owen Schroyer, who's his offsider. His son was on there.
Oh, it's Jones's son?
Yep. Rex.
What's his... How's Rex?
He sucks. He's so low energy. He's so low energy that he's not even allowed on InfoWars normally. I think he's starting his own thing on Rumble.
That's rough.
But someone suggested to me on Blue Sky that it's trying to diversify their portfolio now that InfoWars is being closed down.
Yeah.
Which might just be smart, making his money in the Rumble mines. Yeah, he sucks. And they got Gavin McInnes in there as well, the awful Gavin McInnes. And it was just a shit show. It was really awful. Gavin McInnes just tries to do like shock, calling people retards and saying it's women's faults and like, oh, wow, You're so edgy, Gavin McInnes. They talked about, which has been a common theme of this, how it was all DEI and women shouldn't be protecting Donald Trump and all. It's just garbage stuff. But then after like 10 minutes of conversation, Gavin McInnes just twigs that it's Alex Jones's son. He's like, oh my God, it's Rex. I didn't realize that was you. It's like, you guys have been talking for about 10 minutes. And then it turns out they done shows together in person. And he just completely forgot who he was.
It's too low energy.
He's really low energy. They did have a little bit of Jones, cutting to Jones, who he was mostly talking about Bohemian Grove, and we'll maybe talk about that in the news catch up at the end, because that's really interesting. But he did say to Elon Musk, he said to Elon Musk, you need to increase your security. I know that you're tough like Trump, but you've got to increase your security. And I don't think anyone's ever called Elon Musk tough before.
No.
Which is it's a wild statement. And then they were just hyping up how good X is for sharing information. And that was about it. There is a lot of other stuff on InfoWars from other minor commentators that might mostly post to Rumble and then they rehost it, but I don't watch all that. It's normally always garbage. So I was kind of disappointed in InfoWars with Jonesy on holiday. And Troy, he just doesn't have the mustard for it.
So I did see there was a reliable standard on 4chan. Someone popped up claiming to be one of the Secret Service snipers.
Yep.
And they're all like, yep, totally believe it.
Yep.
He said, my name is Jonathan Willis. I'm the officer in the famous photo of the two snipers on the roof at Trump's rally. I came here to inform the public the assassin in my sights for at least 3 minutes, but the head of the Secret Service refused to give the order to take out the perp. 100% the top brass prevented me from killing the assassin before he took the shots at President Trump. It's just an old classic federal agent going on 4chan to spill the beans. The same thing that gave us QAnon.
Yeah.
I did see on the other side a QAnon psychopath, Jim Stewartson. He's like an anti-QAnon guy, but he's real loopy. He's obsessed with who's the general? Michael Flynn. He's like totally obsessed with Michael Flynn. He's convinced that QAnon was a Michael Flynn operation. And his immediate reaction was like, Michael Flynn did this.
Yeah, right.
If you can believe it. But speaking of 4chan, some people on 4chan did dig up a video featuring the shooter from a few years ago when he was in school. And it was a video produced by BlackRock.
Who's BlackRock?
So BlackRock is like a investment company. They have their finger in a lot of pies, and like some of them are dodgy pies. Like they invest in the arms industry. They invest in fossil fuels. They do some of the stuff they invest in is bad. I think that there's probably a bit of confusion out there with Blackwater, the mercenary group.
Completely different things, I believe.
Yeah, but
I reckon BlackRock probably has some investments, and there's probably a Venn diagram there somewhere, right?
Yeah, they have their fingers in a lot of pies, and so like on the conspiracy subreddits, when they see that the shooter was in a video produced by BlackRock, because I think they have some sort of investment in like schools, or in maybe just in STEM. It was just like some STEM program they were doing. It was something. It wasn't even about the kid. The kid doesn't even speak in it. It was a video about this teacher, and this kid's like sitting in class. And so the 4chan kids dug this up. On Reddit, they were so impressed. They're like, oh, how did they do it? Or the weaponized autism of 4chan dug this thing up. It's like, no, I think that someone who went to school with him was like, oh, remember we were in that video on YouTube? I think it's how they found it.
Yeah,
I don't think that they used any special skills.
Well,
but, the most frustrating conversation took place on Reddit about this, where someone was like, oh, look at all this stuff they've dug up. And someone's like, so what else did they dig up? Because the implication is this isn't much. You haven't dug up much. He was in a video that was produced by this company who do lots of things, and it doesn't prove anything. I don't even know what point you're trying to make. And they're like, so what else did they dig up? Because they're like, they've dug up so much stuff. And then they start talking about like the Shia LaBeouf, whatever his fucking name is, the thing with his flag.
Yeah.
From 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so that's not what they're asking. But
Yes.
then it's just pages and pages of them talking about how impressive it was that they found the Shia LaBeouf flag. It's like,
That's a long time ago.
that was a long time ago.
Just jumping on.
You can't rest on your laurels, 4chan.
Just circling back to Black Rock on the Wikipedia page, I just had a quick scroll. They have been the subject of conspiracy theories, including the conspiracy theory that they own both Fox News and Dominion voting systems, which Snopes described as false and PolitiFact described as mostly false. So there's probably a little bit of truth to it by the sound of it. Some Black Rock conspiracy theories have incorporated anti-Semitism, such as the conspiracy theory that Jewish people are part of a cabal responsible for COVID and a COVID agenda. They're worth like many, many billions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. So probably not good. One of the things, Cam, you kind of alluded to was there's not really much known about the shooter out there.
Yeah.
Like
he didn't have any social media, that's a red flag.
Is it though? Like lots of people, like living in a small town here, there's lots of people that I know that don't have any social media. Or they might have a Facebook page, but they've never posted on it or something. And like kids these days don't use Facebook. He didn't, he's not an Instagrammer because
he was on Discord, but Discord said we checked out his thing and he wasn't using it to plan anything. I think people are just used to when someone goes to assassinate the president or to do like anything these days, there tends to be a manifesto, or at least like a little indicator of where you're coming from. I think people, and I include myself in this, find a little frustrating when someone doesn't go to the effort.
Yes. It's low effort. But I think there was probably a period there when anyone involved in anything controversial had a Facebook page, and you could just immediately go and find their Facebook page. And I think these days people just don't use it as much anymore. So a 20-year-old not having a Facebook, like by the time he was old enough to think about it, it probably wasn't that cool anymore.
Well, I'll just say about Facebook. Salty, you were saying before about all of the bullshit you were seeing on X. I went on Facebook and there was not a single post in my feed about what had happened, which is surely the biggest news story in a while. Not a single thing. It didn't show me any of my friends posting about it. It didn't show me any news stories about it. It just showed me it just kept on showing me AI slop and like bits of movies, bits of The Bear. Have you watched The Bear, Robbo?
I've seen the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen any of the new season though.
Should I watch The Bear? Because from these clips, I don't know what the fuck is going on in The Bear.
Yeah,
I thought it was about like a guy opening a restaurant.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But it's
didn't it kind of?
It's like
it's just a family, mate.
It's like a crappy little restaurant, right?
So he takes over his brother's restaurant, which is like a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
In Chicago.
So then I'm watching these clips and they're doing foams. It's like, that's not sandwich shop fare. All right, I'll go watch The Bear. Don't spoil The Bear for me.
I really enjoyed it. I've seen it get some backlash recently.
Right.
From
too much foam.
Yeah, too much foam. I mean, foam is pretty passé these days.
Yeah.
I watched the first season and then half of the second season. And it just got too fucking hectic for me.
It's really hectic.
I was just like, I can't fucking stand this anymore. Like, I just can't sit and watch it.
That's the modern kitchen for you, Salty. They get hectic.
There's a really good...
the episode it was an episode just when they were having dinner at their house. It wasn't even like a episode. I was just like, fuck, this is insane. You know what episode I'm talking about?
Yeah, that episode is like full on.
Yeah. And then I was like, I don't know if I can just keep watching this show. So I haven't watched it since.
There's an English show which is really similar, and I can't remember the name now. Boiling Point, sorry.
Yeah, with Stephen Graham?
Yeah, so it was a movie and then they made it into a 4-part show, I think it was. Far too short. It was really, really good. I really loved watching it. And then they, it's like, I was like, oh, can't wait to see the next episode. And then I realized it was over. So,
yeah. Do you know how I know that Stephen Graham's in that? Because Facebook keeps showing me clips of Boiling Point as well. And then in the comments, there's all of these robots being like, oh, I love this movie. It was the most amazing movie I've ever seen. And then there's like a war in the comments, people saying, don't click on links from the bots. Tell me about the ex-president getting shot. Facebook.
Well, Facebook has made a kind of a point to
denewsify itself.
Yeah. So like I think they're just trying to avoid that. Although I get heaps of news, but it's always like from news.com.au posting something that's like, anyone else hate vegans?
Yeah.
And then people just spouting off in the comments.
And the news.com.au posts are fucked because they don't even post the link that leads directly to the story.
No.
It's always a link just to the website or to some other fucking part of the website. It's like, just fucking don't tell me the headline of a story that I now want to read and not link me to it. Don't make me go and find it.
Don't get sucked in, Salty.
And then what I do like is when sometimes people in the comments are like, it's just about this, just so you don't have to waste your time finding it. And I'm like,
those
okay.
people are great.
Thank you.
Heroes. Anyway, this has been your Boomer Shuey.
The kids just don't use Facebook anymore.
The kids aren't using Facebook. The bear's too complicated.
Before we wrap up on this one, I took a deep dive on Marco Violi.
Oh, the Italian soccer guy.
Yeah. Do you know much about this?
So I know that it's normally when I thought it was nice that they all came together on this, because normally when something happens, immediately they're like a trans person. Or they're like Sam Hyde, the edgy wannabe comedian. And it was like, this time they just picked some random Italian guy. But there's a reason why this Italian guy got picked, Robbo, and you've looked into it.
Yeah. And it was really hard to look into because I don't speak Italian.
No, well, it's not that hard to read. It's like all of these European languages are just English with accents.
English with an I or an O on the end of things.
Yeah.
But no, I got to the bottom of it. And so basically, this has been going on for a number of years now. Marco Violi is the guy, and he's he's got his own website, which him and his wife co-own. It's romagiallorossa.it. And he's known for doing he used to do a hashtag Violi Nation, which was then hijacked by one of his enemies. And one of the things he'd do on his website or his YouTube channel would do parody songs about the current soccer news of the day. And I think they were quite cheesy. I don't speak Italian, so I don't know what a soccer parody in the style of Freestyler
by Bompunk MC.
Yeah, banger, by the way. I love that song. So like that's the kind of thing he's doing. And this other Twitter user called Mussolini Ho, which I think was a parody of Marco Violi's Twitter name, which was a nod to the soccer coach that he was a fan of or something. Like there's a few layers to it. You know,
Can we also just point at what Luke's Discord name is?
What? Yeah.
Me, Lucio.
Me, Lucio.
I don't even know why it's that. It's been that. I've never used that name anywhere else.
And you say you don't know how to speak Italian.
Yeah. So this person started a Twitter space that just played those parody songs to like mock this guy because they were apparently really lame, which is crazy because a parody song of the Bombfunk MC's Freestyler sounds great to me.
Yeah, how lame could it be?
Yeah.
If it's got like the core of Freestyler.
Yeah.
He commented, this is from Rolling Stone Italy, Rolling Stonio. So Violi said it was disgusting, depressing, and a sneaky situation. It is not a tribute, but an act to denigrate me. And this whole Twitter space blew up, and like legitimate celebrities were tweeting it, and it went around the globe, and Violi Nation became a big thing. But what was never really talked about was why. And Rolling Stone didn't really seem to know why. They just said it was a prank between friends that became into a real act of social bullying broadcast worldwide. But then I found another Twitter thread explaining it, and I think someone's accused him of harassment and took out Marco Violi of harassment and took out a restraining order or the equivalent in Italy to stop him stalking them, essentially. It was a former female employee of his. And he's also been charged with fraudulently obtaining info, where I think the story is he rang he was on the phone to a soccer coach, an official phone call, and the coach forgot to hang up, and then just started detailing all the next plans for the soccer club to someone else while the journalist, Marco Violi, was still on the phone, which was apparently quite controversial. But it's the harassment and stalking of a former employee is the bad stuff. So I think people really hate him because apparently he's a bit of a creep. And anything that comes up, they start pinning them on him in Italy. And now it's crossed over into a global thing.
Yeah, although people like, what's his name? Tommy Robinson, aka Stephen Yaxley Lennon, they like just Google translated the Italian stuff. And so they Google translated his name as well. So he went from being Marco Violi to Mark Violet.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, Mark Violet or Marco Violi. I reckon this is going to now become a bigger thing. Anything that comes up, he's going to be the one being blamed. Don't be a creep, I guess.
Yeah. I guess final things about the assassination attempt. 1, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days before the election. 333.
Numerology, yes.
I haven't checked that. That's just what someone said. I don't know if it's quite right. I think it's sort of like
August, September, October. No, it'd be 4 months because it's in November, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, no. So but then you've got the 3 weeks. So 3 months.
Oh,
3
yeah, no,
weeks, 3
that's
days.
good. Yep.
I don't know if it quite works. Like, I think they might be in the vicinity. It depends on how you define a week.
Which is, not everyone defines them the same. It's divisive.
But it was on the 14th here. So there's, from then till the end of July, that's 2 weeks and 3 days. Then you have 3 full months. Then you have 4 days. I don't think it is 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days. I reckon you could have got away with saying it was... I think you could have gotten away with saying it was 3 months and 3 weeks and just gotten a 33, but they've gone for the triples.
Mm.
Oh, and the one other thing is his dad was a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Oh, that's right.
MK Ultra.
Yeah. So I guess to all of these kind of things, there's still that base level of he's CIA asset. They let it happen. The big one that the right are pushing is DEI, diversity, equality, inclusion, or whatever that stands for. Is full of that. Yeah. What is really interesting is there's this kind of dual thing where, how they just love cops and love the special services and army and all that. There's this kind of thing where they're like loving them to bits, but also kind of blaming them for missing it. So they're getting former snipers up there, and they're going, all this. We got peak army talk anytime one of them's interviewed. The individual was cited discharging a firearm, kind of bullshit.
Yeah, from his vantage point.
Yeah, just speak normally for fuck's sake. Yeah. And even people interviewed on the, just regular people do it now when it's just so stupid. So they're blaming them, but also how could they stuff up because they're the best? They're super soldiers. So there's this kind of confusing. I guess they just can't. They can't. I guess reckon that in their minds. All that stuff's lumped on top of all this as well.
I did also find there's a Twitter account called it's called Game Time Woo 18, who posted on March 6th. They posted a screenshot of a Republican primary news coverage, which had Trump at 911, his figure, and one of the other people at 33.
Ooh.
And he tweeted on that day, Trump is going to get domed on TV live soon. It'll be one of the biggest events ever. 9/11/33, TikTok, time's running out for this Trump character.
Let's see how Donnie Trump wriggle his way out of this one.
Yeah, and then he's followed up on July 14th. Nobody ever listens to me, undefeated. And he said it's going to come out. He posted a bunch of stuff about saying that it's this is going to happen on TV, but it's not going to be real, but it will be for this reality, and all this kind of stuff. He seems like a real fucking put together great guy.
Oh yeah, stop clocks.
So, does anyone have any? What do we think of this guy? What happened?
Well, he's just wanted to shoot somebody and get on the news. I think that's my take.
Yeah,
we'll see. They've cracked his phone, so I'm sure they'll find out in due course. And it's interesting when I go on like Our Conspiracy, like the whole front page of it is, they're saying that they know he was working on his own, but they can't even get into his phone. It's like, you're behind on the news, guys. They got into the phone.
My take is a guy just got on a roof with a gun, and turns out you can spend billions of dollars on security and still fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a guy can just get on a roof with a gun.
Yeah.
Or an individual can take advantage, discharge a firearm from a vantage point.
Yeah. You know what? Sorry, I'm for rambling here.
It's good.
All the stuff that I see that I'm like, nah, it's fucking completely staged. The one thing that makes me think not is Trump worrying about his shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the go with that?
So he said that apparently the Secret Service guys tackled him so hard that his shoes come off, which I can understand. Like they say when you're in a car accident, quite often your shoes will come off just because of the force and your momentum of your body and stuff. So I can imagine potentially that happening. And the fact that that was just a weird thing that he was worried about at the time seems like a very in shock, weird thing to say. Like, you like, fuck, where's my shoes? Like, it's the kind of weird thing that would come to your head in a crisis situation that's not relevant, but it's like your brain trying to sort of protect you from what's going on by concentrating on something trivial.
Yeah.
And I feel like him saying that is part of what makes me go, nah, I think something probably did really happen. Well, because he was at that point, he was like a fucking 80-odd-year-old, whatever how old he is, bloke who'd just been knocked to the ground by a bunch of like burly blokes and doesn't know what's happened. And
he's like, "Where's my shoes?
I need my shoes." Yeah. Well, like, no, you don't need your shoes, mate.
Were they knocked off, or was he giving the speech barefoot?
Because he's come out and said that they got knocked off his feet.
Well, that's his excuse now.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are like, why is he asking about his shoes? But maybe he's like, it's not illegal to be barefoot while you give a speech.
Maybe like sprinkling his toes in the carpet of the stage.
Yeah. It could have been a huge moment for the Barefooters legal crowd.
Yeah.
When he came out and made that statement, it just crushed them. Like,
I also saw a thing where someone was like, if you look at the video footage when the Secret Service guy kicks his shoes off the stage to get them out of the way, you can see the lifts come out. And I was like, haha. And then I thought, well, if he was standing on lifts, his feet wouldn't have been very securely in his shoes anyway.
No.
So
if he was wearing them at all, which is that's getting into a whole other conspiracy.
Yeah. Should we pioneer the barefoot Trump conspiracy? Hashtag barefoot Trump.
So, barefoot is legal.
Yeah.
I think the thing about it being staged is like there's so many cameras on it. You're not really going to be able to get away with it. And I did notice a lot of the people that were like, oh, this is staged. It's sort of, they went away when it came out that, other people got shot.
How many times do you see the bloody wrestlers cut themselves, mate? And they're being filmed by multiple cameras in HD all the time.
Yeah. But you can see them doing it.
Can't always.
I think the camera crew are quite often in on it.
Yeah. They know where the cameras are.
So would this camera crew, right? Surely everyone was in on it.
Yeah, no, the whole media.
You would need hundreds and hundreds of people to be in on it. And too many people need to be in on it, and these people are weasels.
You know who's definitely in on it?
Who?
That woman standing in the background who didn't flinch and just started filming on her phone.
Yeah, I saw her, but I tried to watch and I couldn't really see her properly. Was it as bad as people were making out?
She's just standing there and just like doesn't move and just just starts filming.
You know, I say, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to duck down and what? You're not going to get shot. Like, if you're going to get shot, you're going to get shot. You might as well.
Is that what your thought goes to? Well, if I'm going to get shot, I'm going to get shot.
Well, that seems to be the response that a lot of people took to some other recent events. Yeah, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Don't worry about wearing a mask, etc.
The Venn diagram of these people and people at a Trump rally is pretty high, pretty much a circle.
So, Should we do some news?
Yeah, let's do some news.
It's just a quick news. Some dudes infiltrated Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, okay. So these dudes that don't seem to have any real political bias, they seem to be YouTubers, got into Bohemian Grove, took a bunch of footage that they're releasing. They got caught. They all got caught and then just got arrested and then let go. And then they went on InfoWars and were chatting to Jonesy, and he was like, "Oh, you've got to sue them now for false imprisonment. You've got to take them to court." And it really weakens the whole. This is a big shady cabal of billionaires that is a secret society when these people just walked in and they literally just walked in and they're like, yeah, it's really easy. Right. We just kind of walked in and walked around for a bit. I got to
tell me about the owl burning orgies.
Yeah, well, and so they're making out this is a billionaire secret sex cult cabal, but also if you get caught, they'll just let you go.
Yeah,
which is what they did. So it really while Jonesy was trying to hype it up still, it did not help his cause for when he was in there and he was hiding in the bushes saying, oh my God, they're sacrificing children.
Well, also, if you remember the time that Jonesy went in, John Ronson, the journalist, went in at the same time and also just walked in.
Yes.
So it seems that in the intervening 30 plus years, they haven't made any improvements in security.
These guys, they reckon they're going to go back next year with 100 people. So there's all these old blokes that, just like to go out and do a little stupid little activity with their friends every year. They can't do that anymore. They're probably awful people though, so whatever.
Yeah. Next item, 2 anti-fluoridation groups ordered to pay $41,000 after losing court case against council. This is some New Zealand news.
Yeah, they took a case out. I think it was Hastings Council, lost the case and were ordered to pay all the legal costs. One of the groups they have to pay the legal costs for, I don't think they even took the court case out against. They were just dragged in by the council. Then they just got massively owned in court and got to pay all the costs. So sucked in.
That's a classic, though, getting angry about the fluoride. Next item here, Channel 7 have started putting horoscopes into their news bulletins. But I would note that their horoscope did not predict the assassination attempt.
But I can't think of a horoscope example. That's weird, isn't it? What's going on over there, guys? What's happening in Australia?
They just wanted to spice things up.
Right.
I think it is. Look,
what was this about again? Sorry, I was reading Jack Black news.
Channel 7 are putting horoscopes into the news bulletins. Now
reading them or just on a ticker?
Reading them. So they have someone, but it's just like the sunrise horoscope person that they're putting on the news. So it's not like they weren't putting horoscopes on TV already.
Do they still do that in the morning though?
You do it.
They do?
They do it. They used to do it after the show after sunrise. The one that if you're still watching TV, you get
the sun's out.
Yeah.
Daytime.
Yeah. Daytime. If you're still watching TV at that time, of the day, you just, you've just given up for the day.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to be sitting on the couch all day watching this garbage, and then they
probably
whip
in the
it out in
doctor's
that
office.
One. Or the doctor's office, that's true.
I think, I don't want to be critical of Channel 7's news strategy, but one of their other big things recently was to bring out a newspaper that comes out at night.
What?
You know that time when people like to sit down and read the news?
Yeah.
at night time, at 6 o'clock in the evening, they like to open up the newspaper.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to do? Go out to a newsagent that's not closed, not open anymore.
But it's not even print. It's just on, just online.
What, just like a news website?
No, but it's in newspaper format. So it's like a, you turn
That's not how online works.
No.
Anyway. I mean, it is for some. Yeah. Anyway,
so they want to do a nighttime news PDF.
Yeah,
that you probably have to read from the top to the bottom.
Yeah,
sometimes on big days, it's big as a book.
It's almost a book. Yeah,
almost a book.
Did you see the news book last night?
The what book?
The news
book. Yeah.
Final item: Scott Adams Hypno. Scott Adams. I did see this, Robbo. He trained ChatGPT to be a hypnotist.
Yeah, so the Dilbert guy, reading Dilbert all those years, I thought this guy was a smart guy. I thought he had a few brains in his old dome, and as I've got to know him through social media, I realised he's a fucking moron.
Really?
Now, he's cooked. Now, were we wrong about Dilbert, though? Because if you think about it, Dilbert was just like, oh, working in office sucks. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it had some. I'm sure it had some good things.
Did you need, like, the bosses don't know what they're talking about? And it's like, you've got to deal with annoying co-workers. So was this that insightful? Were we tricked? Because we were like, yeah, he's right. He's on the money.
Maybe.
Just telling us what we were thinking, like Trump does.
Anyway, he taught ChatGPT to hypnotize, and I'm assuming he then thinks he got hypnotized by ChatGPT. Hang on, I've got it somewhere. Where is it? This is his tweet. I taught ChatGPT hypnosis last night. Then I had it tested on me. You have no idea what is coming. No idea. And then he followed it up with, no, I won't be sharing the prompts. Far too dangerous. What a fucking moron.
Yeah, good on him. Alrighty. That is our show. Robbo, you are going to Thailand.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'll come back with some Muay Thai conspiracies for you.
Nice. Sounds good. Robbo, have fun.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that is our show. If you want to check us out online, we're on Blue Sky, Hypothepod at bluesky.social. Robbo, where can they find you?
Just there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, unless you want to hang out at some street food stalls in Thailand, then let me know.
Salty, where can they get you, mate?
I'm not being super active on socials at the moment. I've got a Patreon happening, but I'm not going to show my Patreon to our Patreon people.
No, but we do have a Patreon, Hypothepod, and thank you to Tammy, our Cook $33 sponsor.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
And, Patreon people, I don't know if you want to leave this in or not. Patreon people, make sure your address is updated because you might get something in the mail soon.
Hell yeah.
You've been doing some little drawings?
Mate, I've got some stuff to send out to our patrons.
All right. Sounds good. All right, folks. See you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Don't worry about a thing, except if all our world leaders are alien reptilians. I said don't worry about a thing, except maybe the fluoride in our water supply contains mind-altering drugs. Don't worry about a thing, except whether or not Port Arthur was a false flag operation in which to disarm Australia. I said don't worry about a thing. I accept you can definitely hear John Lennon say I buried Paul at the end of Strawberry Fields forever. Ooh, don't worry about a thing, except not only did Bush do 9/11, but he also keeps the planes out in Area 51, which, let's not forget where all of the aliens are. Don't worry about a thing, except Donald Trump is clearly a woman and you just